My ex-fiancée shot herself in the police. Thought I did it. My former fiancée is half Spanish and half Swedish. She came to America when she was 6 with her parents that were both doctors that transferred to US to work. Something happened with the mom's green card, and she had to go back to Spain. Her mom fought for custody of the kids, but the court granted custody to her dad in the US. She rarely saw her mom after that. There was some incident of her going into foster care when she was 16 that she had many different stories about but was never clear. Then her older brother took custody of her, and she lived in a house that her mom paid for in US. Sophia went to college for physical therapy and gets a job at a clinic. I met Sophia off Bumble and we went on a date. I experienced love at first sight. She was full of joy, big bubble butt, and a gorgeous smile, slim, thick, incredible body. She was beautiful and magnetic. If you brought her into any room, all eyes around would follow her. The night of our first date, we were laughing together. We hit it off, and by 3 dates, she was my girlfriend. From that point, she stayed mostly at my house. I was convinced she was going to be my wife. I loved being with her so much. We felt electric together. She was so bubbly and loved life so much, I couldn't get enough of her. 1.5 years into the relationship, I thought she was cheating, and I broke it off. Sophia said she wasn't. I started dating someone else. It didn't work out. And 2 months before COVID lockdown, she moved in with me again. She said, "I'm never leaving now." She told me we're going to be together forever. I love you so much and I never want to miss you again. She ended up staying for 2 more years at my place during COVID, and I fell fully in love with her. I thought for sure she was in love with me too. After COVID ended, she started going out with friends more and was out all night not knowing where she was. I thought she was cheating again, so I kicked her out of my place. She said she was just hanging out with friends, but I couldn't go or know who they were. She yelled at me that nothing was happening and I'm overreacting and didn't want to leave me. Upset she couldn't say who her new friends were, I still kicked her out. 2 months later, I saw her again. She cried when she saw me and said how much she missed me. We got back together again. I thought all problems were in the past. 5 months later, I proposed to Sophia, and she said yes. After I proposed, we went to Greece, and she said this was the happiest time of her life. She wanted babies with me and can't wait to get married and spend the rest of my life together. 2 months later, out of nowhere, Sophia is gone from my house. My jaw hit the floor wondering where she is. Call her, no response. I call her sister. I found out she moved in with a guy with her friend. The guy has 3 mansions and a mega yacht in Miami and 2 other cities, including mine. She knew this guy before and had partied with him. She had gone to see if she could be with this guy. The guy was extremely ugly, partied and clubbed a lot, paid hot women to hang out with him in clubs. He appeared to be drinking a lot and doing a lot of coke. Side note, a year after she left me for him, this guy died of a drug overdose, but Sophia and her friends thought he committed suicide. I was completely heartbroken and a total mess, not understanding how my fiancé of just 2 months and being together for 4 years, she could just suddenly leave me. I've been married before and had 2 other long-term relationships. In comparison to previous, my relationship day-to-day with Sophia was great. I was so distraught. I was able to reach out to her on Snap, and she said, "I'm sorry about us, but I'm never coming back." I saw her happy, partying with her new friends, and that guy on Instagram. I could not understand or comprehend how she could not be sad, missing me. She spent so much time with me, she always wanted to be around me. 6 weeks later, I hear from her sister. She basically gets kicked out from the guy's mansion, and it did not work out with this rich guy she tried to leave me for. The moment she gets back into town, she calls me. She's acting really weird and says she needs to see me. She comes in my house and says she wants to get back together. She said her leaving was all my fault. I'm so heartbroken knowing it's a bad idea, but I agree to let her stay. The next 2 weeks, Sophia is acting completely abnormal and totally erratic. She would act loving 1 minute, then screaming at me the next. She would bawl in bed for hours, then be extremely happy and excited dancing around the next. I realized that letting her back into my house was a big mistake. I told her to get therapy and she said I'm fine. After a month back together on the weekend, she would run out the door and be out sometimes all night until the morning. She started partying and, I think, using coke while she's out. She'd be out all night then, clearly be texting a guy the next day. She knew I was upset with her, so Sophia started sleeping in the other room and said she's going to be leaving soon. Then there was this cycle of it seemed not working out with some guy, and she would go back to normal. Then she would find another guy. Finally, I said, "We've been done. Go back to your mom's place. You can't stay here anymore." She said, "No, I'm not doing anything or cheating," and she would not leave my house. I asked her friends about her, and they said, "Sophia cheats on you all the time now. You have to kick her out." One night, she was gone all night, and I packed her stuff and put it inside her mom's place. Her sister lived there. The next day, Sophia brought all her stuff back and said, "If you do that again, I'm calling a lawyer because you can't kick me out because of residence laws." I was nearing the end of my lease that house I lived in after I sold my previous house. Then to get away from her, I moved on to another place without telling her. Sophia seemed to accept it and was fine, and didn't hear much from her. Then 4 months later, she needed help crying over the phone and came to my house. She bawled for 3 hours straight in my bed. She said she needed to stay and wanted me back. I said, "I don't trust you, and I think you're going to cheat again, but fine, I'll try again together." She seemed so distraught. This was someone I care about and have loved. Part of me still wanted to help her. Sophia was not in a good mental state again. Not as erratic from when she came back from Miami, but more depressed. The following night, Sophia leaves my house for a while, saying she's hanging with friends. Her sister calls me and says Sophia went on a date with a guy she knows. I call Sophia and tell her to never talk to me again and leave me alone. "You're such a liar and so manipulative." I say, "I never want to talk to you again." How do you cry for hours wanting to get back together and then cheat on me the next day? What is wrong with you? That night, Sophia jumps the fence to my housing community, grabs a broom and breaks through a window in my house. Comes inside and said, "We're together and I'm not leaving." I call the police. She runs from my house. I ask police what to do, and they said they can't do anything and to get a lawyer for a restraining order. The next morning, Sophia comes into my house through the broken window. I said, "I will call the police again. Just go to your mom's." She said, "We are going to be together. Why are you acting like this?" I said, "I stupidly agreed to take you back and you cheated on me the next day." She said, "No, I didn't. I've never cheated on you ever. I love you." Of course, I knew that was a lie. I called the police again and said, "Can you remove her from my place?" And they said nothing they can do. She won't leave my house all day. And I said, "Let's go get Mexican food that night," not knowing what to do or how to get her out. She comes from the couch in the morning around 9 a.m. and pins me down, and we have sex. She goes to my closet, puts on my clothes, and says sweetly, "Can I stay?" I said, "No. You've done nothing but cheat on me the last year of our relationship, and you cheated at least 2 times before that. You don't love me." Sophia doesn't say anything back to me, walks away and takes a shower. I went downstairs to get coffee and come back up. I walk into the closet, and she's sitting down with a towel draped in front of her. I said, "What's going on?" Then lift the towel up, and there's my Glock laying there. Sophia looks up, smiling at me. I pick up my Glock. I keep the ammo and gun in separate parts of my room. The ammo magazine is in the gun. I pull the chamber back, and a bullet was cocked into the chamber. I say out loud, "Holy shit." I unload the chamber and say to her, "Why did you load this?" Sophia sprints past me and runs downstairs. I put the gun down and chase after her. She jumps in the pool on the ledge, wading back and forth with her arms in the pool. She says, "Come in the pool with me." I said, "No, let's just forget about all this and go to your mom's." Sophia has no reply. She appears disassociated out of reality. She didn't respond to me and just had this strange, disconnected smile on her face. I take her by the hand and lead Sophia out of the pool. She shoves me back hard as she can and sprints away from me. She runs upstairs, locks the bedroom door. I start trying to open and say, "Sophia, open up this door right now." I hear her go for the Glock. I'm screaming at her behind the door to stop and put down the gun. I have no idea if she's going to kill me or if she plans to harm herself. I hear a pop. I scream out her name. No answers. I kick down the door run in the closet, and there's blood pouring out the side of her head, and she's twitching and choking on her own blood on the ground. I call 911. They say give her CPR, and I do. Quickly, the paramedics are there, and I run outside and hug a tree, bawling my eyes out and shaking uncontrollably. The police arrive and ask what happened. I said she shot herself. Then around 30 cops showed up in a trailer, and forensics and police are going through my house. They take my cell phone and take me across town and put me in a holding room at the station. For the next 10 hours, different cops would come in and say, "Are you ready to talk?" I replied, "I need a lawyer." The cops kept repeating back to me, "You missed your chance to get a lawyer." After 12 hours in the holding cell and how the detectives coming in and out were talking to me, I knew they were getting ready to charge me with homicide. I thought, I'm going to be on the evening news, and my life is going to be over. I asked for a lawyer again, and the detectives said no. I had PTSD blocking parts of the incident, but remembered I turned on my cell phone camera at some point during the final moments during the incident with Sophia, but didn't know what was on it. I said, fine, I'll tell you the story if you give my phone back. I knew the police were trying to break into my phone. If they see the video, I'm not sure what they will do with the video. I decide that I need to see what video has regarding the incident and show them in the interrogation room. I knew talking to the detectives without a lawyer was a terrible idea, but I had this feeling wash over me that I need to see that video on my phone before it's possibly gone. I tell my story to police what happened and detail every moment to 3 detectives in the last 10 minutes. They ask a whole list of random questions about Sophia and answer them. I ask, am I free to go? The 3 detectives say no. I replied, then you need to give me my cell phone like you agreed so I can show a video on it. They said there is a tech guy working on jailbreaking the phone to get into it, but they will bring it. I show the video on my cell phone to the 3 detectives, not really knowing what was going to be on it. I knew I turned on the camera on my phone at some point. The video captured the whole incident of her running upstairs, and me running up and her locking the door behind me. I was subconsciously holding the cell phone the entire time, me screaming behind the door with the cell phone camera on. There was a loud pop in the video, and I break down the door with the camera still going. I run through the master into the closet with the phone still in my hand, and it shows her on the ground right after she shot herself and the video ends. The 3 detectives have a look of total shock on their face. I believe they were thinking, who's going to tell the lead detective that I didn't kill her? They take me out of the interrogation room and back to my house. I get out of the cop car, and the lead detective is still there with the trailer and many other police and forensic people at my house. The lead detective screams in my face, this is still a homicide investigation. You did this to yourself. I've been doing this for 12 years, and I know a murderer when I see one. The way he was acting, I knew it was a Hail Mary attempt for wasting 30-plus cops' time on a Saturday. I reply, I said my story without a lawyer you guys wouldn't allow me to have, and I did it anyway. Then showed a video that proved I didn't do it. What do you want from me? The video proves she killed herself. That's why you're letting me go. I find out from her family that the cops confirmed that I had a video that proved I didn't do it, and I never heard from the police again on the incident. They took a bunch of stuff from my house, and I never got my cell phone back, along with other computers and electronics. I had a bunch of questions in my mind about what happened. The obvious, why did Sophia do it? She was a physical therapist. She was still young, beautiful, and smart. What happened to her in Miami with that super rich guy that gave her a mental collapse when she came back? She partied some, but she wasn't a drug addict. She had developed manic episodes the last year of being with her. She said she was very depressed, but she also seemed to blame me for it. During manic episodes, she believed she was the most desirable woman in the world. Then sometimes would say she's so ugly and now old. Behind my back, she was not just cheating, but also trying to replace me. When I didn't see her for 4 months before she showed back up, I was told she was partying a lot, going on dates, and randomly hooking up with men and was dating some guys. She also told me when she came back the last time, she had took out her IUD, and she really wanted to have a baby with me. I said, you are nuts. Why would you take it out? What I believe later is she became so desperate in her mind that she thought having a baby to take care of would stop the thoughts to kill herself. What was she doing with the towel in the closet? She seemed to avoiding touching the gun and wanted to make sure I got my hands all over it. Why did she go into the pool right before she did it? I'm certain she knew when she killed herself she was putting me in a precarious spot with police. Also, in the police report that finally came out a year later, there was a picture of her with that same towel she was covering the gun with, draped over her. Sophia also told me a few times before when I would tell her to leave, she knew a way to get my 2 kids taken away from me and put me in prison for life. I asked how? She said, I'm not telling you. During this same time, she would tell me, you will be very sorry when I'm gone. I'd ask, where are you going? She'd say, Dubai, or just not here anymore. I'll just be gone. You'll never hear from me again. A few years after that morning, and her smile and how she wouldn't reply to me for 10 minutes before she shot herself haunts me. I've moved on to another relationship. Part of me still does miss her. We had such great times. She had everything going for her. I feel bad for her. I never understood why she apparently never loved me, but also seemed so obsessed with me. Her sister told me later her childhood was much worse than what Sophia told me. Sophia and her family was physically abused often by her dad, starting from a child. The physical and emotional abuse finally led them into foster care, and her dad was jailed for what he did to her. This is a person I knew and loved for 5 years, and I'm not sure how to process being with her. We had so much fun together. Most of the time, she was so sweet to me. I don't regret the great times we had together, and I enjoyed being with her. However, the apparent ongoing cheating and taking my gun to shoot herself puts our time together and how she felt about me in a totally different lens. This is where my story ends. Sophia died and left me with many questions running through my head. Did she really love me? Was she planning to implicate me in her murder? Leave me your opinion in the comments.